Hey, welcome to my Virgo channel. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Laura, and I just decided to randomly just jump on. The channel has just been monetized, and I wanted to do a quick live stream, knowing that most likely a lot of people wouldn't even know or see this until later on. So I've deliberately made this video timeless and for any zodiac that lands on it. Why? Because energy is fluid. So, it winds up going to the person that winds up needing to hear the message. That's how psychic energy works. We're a magnet of who and what needs to come into our life. So it's again, if you wind up listening to this or listening to part of it, then most likely you were meant to hear the message. That's again how energy works. You'll also notice that if a person is really dominant, if you're connected to someone that's really obsessive, and their energy tends to be more dominant because they're very obsessive, and they could be also playing games, someone that puts a lot of energy towards manipulating a relationship, or someone that's very obsessive about a relationship. Their energy is most likely going to be the energy that comes out within the reading. And the reason why is just because, on some level, if you're listening to it, you might need to hear what this person's energy is all about so you can understand them better. Or it could be, if that person listens to the reading, that they can become aware of what they're doing to actually sabotage a relationship. Now, the reason why I say this is because I always start off all my readings using my Psychic Soul Healer deck, whether it's this channel or my Psychic Soul Healer channel. And the reason why is because my Psychic Soul Healer cards tell us about the psychological and the emotional aspects of self. So, like, you'll see words like shadow dislocation, and you'll see release fear and ancestral karma. Now, the reason why it's, again, I always look at the spiritual blocks first because that'll tell me whether or not the storyline, the underlining theme, and the underlining theme should always be the spiritual theme, because that's going to tell us the intention. It's going to tell us, again, what the spiritual blocks are, what the karmic contracts are, what a person's gifts may be, what their psychological and emotional things that they can do to integrate the spiritual lesson. And integrate means get to see a different outcome. So we're going to wind up always doing a soulmate twin flame, it's a card spread eventually. But what I like to do it is I like to look at the triggers, because soulmate twin flames have this incredible bond, this unconditional love that transcends all time and space. It's of divine union, and it's of divine union because it's designed for healing, for spiritual evolution in both parties. It's, again, there's this unconditional love. The person feels like home, but on the other hand, they trigger and they make us look at ourselves. They make us question our reality. They push us to our limit, not just within our emotional breaking point, but also within our accomplishments, on our own true potential, because the love is so divine. So again, knowing what spiritual triggers, your soulmate twin flame has, and you learning their love language and how to, avoid certain triggers or understand their triggers, allows you to not take things personally, allows you to look at your situation from a different perspective, which a lot of times is very healing. And as I said, I pride myself on being a healer. So I always, again, first use my deck, but then I use a lot of other decks as well to bring the storyline together. I just always like to say that in the beginning of every video because you might say, well, I don't want to just know about what's going on spiritually. So, which spiritually, by the way, is psychologically and emotionally within yourself and within person. And yes, I did say within yourself because a lot of times trauma will cause detachment. So sometimes we don't even know why we manifest certain things. So this is why I said it that way. Um, okay, because really, again, healing is all about self-realization and really integrating spiritual lessons, turning spiritual wounds into spiritual gifts. And why I say that is if we're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest, to learn that we're not separate from God, God's all knowing, God's unconditional love. We too are unconditional love. We're born as unconditional love, but we're born into environments that are in balance, that make us form behaviorisms and habits that are out of alignment with the things that we desire, the things that we're trying to create. And so, what better way can the divine heal us? Again, God says only He can change our mind and our heart. How do you think He does that? He does it through our soulmate and twin flame. We wouldn't stick around long enough to want to learn. It's the fact that the love is so deep and passionate and feels so much like home that we do. It makes us sit there and look at ourselves. So again, I'm going to look at the spiritual blocks first, and then we're gonna the spiritual underlining theme, I should say. Then I want to look at the triggers and some hidden truths and some twin flame soulmate cards. So we will again round out this reading. I only like to say that because people say I don't really want to know about the psychological and spiritual, but the truth of the matter is, if you're living a karmic theme, and a karmic theme is, "Oh, I keep dating the same type of person, or I keep me and my twin flame keep having the same problems. No matter how many times we talk about it, no matter how many times, we're just never on the same page. So understand the reason why is because unconsciously you're both doing something, and both parties are actually in a power struggle where they're not even looking to change because they want the other person to change. And again, unconditional love is all about compromise, healing, finding balance. Okay, first card out is narrow minded. So again, whoever you are, again, this is for any zodiac, and this is going to be timeless reading. So again, are you narrow-minded? You could be narrow-minded because I feel like maybe for some of you, you're connected to someone that again doesn't really give you love and support. Maybe you feel like you can't really truly be yourself with the person that you desire to be with, or whether you're with them or not. This narrow minded means that we've formed some sort of core beliefs that are in an alignment with experiences that we've already lived before. And if we've lived in balanced situations, like an imbalanced relationship, could be a codependent relationship. And we could feel like, and not just codependent, but even narcissistic and empathic, where there's this paradox. Again, this one person has all the energy, the other person doesn't. There's a sense of dominance and submissive. And it's based on codependence, it's based on narrow minded. And being narrow minded means that someone sees that they're limited, someone believes that love is not true, or they have limited beliefs about love. So understand, if someone is viewing themselves as limited, then they're not going to be able to open up their heart wide enough to be able to really be in a relationship presently. And when I say that presently, it's again, if we're in a relationship that continually triggers our survival mechanism, then we go out of consciousness. And if we go out of consciousness, we are no longer present. And if we have trauma around certain experiences where maybe we were abused, and abuse doesn't just necessarily mean physical abuse, it could have been emotionally abused. When we were connected to someone that emotionally abused us, then again, when we go out of consciousness, we're going to respond the same way that we always did, which was a survival mechanism. So, almost like narrow minded triggered me to automatically go to mean that somebody, again, is in a relationship because they don't trust the person that they're connected to, mainly not even because of their relationship, because of prior relationships. They've become very narrow minded in what they perceive about relationships themselves. And it's really out of balance because they don't even see themselves in a good light. And again, based on making their judgments based on past relationships. But saying, well, I've been in all of my relationships, obviously, and none of them have worked out. So I believe I can't have love. I believe that I'm not lovable. I believe that it may not be possible. But understand, if you are of God, again, which you are, because again, you are God in just physical form, that, and God is just unconditional love. God's the universe. God's ubiquitous. It's within every single person because we all have unconditional love. And so you are love. You're having a problem expressing love. So again, you're narrow minded based on ignorance, not fully knowing, aggressive. And so what happens is, when we have narrow minded beliefs, we do become aggressive. It's again, our second chakra becomes very overactive because there's a sense of not trusting, and when I'm fearful. So I may not be realizing it. So again, this may be you, or again, the person that you're connected to. This is for all zodiac, that again, you may be narrow minded due to, again, your past experiences, and that's made you aggressive, where you want to know where the relationship is going, how it's going to go. Again, and there's a sense of wanting to control it. And then you're also connected to someone that wants to control it, but they don't want to control it in a way of where is this going? They want to control it in a way where they don't have any structure to the relationship. They're like, I just want to see it unfold. The problem with that is there's intimacy problems with that person that says, well, I just want to see how it goes. So their intention isn't bad, but there's a sense that you already know how they are. You've been dealing with this person. And this is why you're narrow minded. You're like, I'm narrow minded. And this person's narrow minded because, again, like goes to like. So this is easy when it's spiritual, right? Because we're getting always the person that is a mirror of who we are. They just aren't channeling it out the same way that we are. It's not coming out in their behaviorisms the same way, but it's the same block. And aggressive is, whether it's passive aggressive or whether it's aggressive in your face, it's the same thing. It's again, notice the paradox energy. Opposite, right? Opposite attracts, but the opposite way of dealing with the situation. So your passive aggressive energy is making me aggressive, making me want to control. And the more that you try to control, the person becomes more passive aggressive in the fact that they, again, are not going to give any energy, which is what is creating the spiritual block of being narrow minded, of the perception about what love is what's creating this aggressive. But is there a problem? No. Don't need to be aggressive in love. We don't need it. It's not a one-uppy game. It's not, this is not the energy. Okay, time loops. But there is a sense that there is like this unconditional love. So at least we know that we're dealing with a soulmate twin flame relationship. Because we'd say, why would we even deal with all this nonsense, right? Got to take a sip of water. Okay. So that Yeah, to say why would we deal with it? Well, it's again when it's timeless. This is a soulmate twin flame relationship, which means it feels like unconditional love. It always feels familiar. I could go away for months on end, for years on end, and still can feel this person. I can see them in my head, meaning I can feel when they're thinking about me. I can feel when their energy is close. There's a lot of communication in the 3D, which is between minds. ESP is through the heart and mind. It transcends all time and space, and it's actually the channel of mediumship. Because again, transcends all time and space. So when someone dies that we love, that connection is never broken because again it's based on unconditional love. The person's spirit just goes back to source because we are of source, right? So we're just in physical form learning the human experience through the spiritual lessons which come out within our relationships. So even though both parties have again this spiritual blocks of being narrow-minded, of believing that love is not really possible, so I need to control everything, there's still this sense that there's unconditional love because it transcends all time and space. Like, no matter how mad I get, I always return to loving this person, not really caring about what we were arguing with to begin with. That's the energy there. So, which is good because that's the realization that healing needs to be. It makes us look at ourselves again, which is what a twin flame soulmate relationship is all about, right? It makes us look at ourselves, which again, God says, well, it's a divine union because really your relationship with me is the most important, and you wouldn't care about me unless you were learning about me through other people, right? And the spiritual union of your relationships, again, such as soulmate, twin flames, and all other karmic and soulmate relationships, right? Again, so we learn the lessons of unconditional love. So we have to see what are the spiritual triggers, because what we see is when a person's narrow minded, they're manipulative, they play a lot of games, which means they're gonna trigger the shit out of you. And you probably then, because what happens is you wind up getting into a power struggle and you get further away from unconditional love, which is what happens in these karmic relationships. That's why they're karmic. There's a sense of needing to learn. And if we keep handling things the same way, then and then we keep getting partners that keep responding the same way, and we can see why things continue to loop. It becomes a karmic loop. It's like this is the same situation, and then the person really is cemented in that thought that things can never be changed, I can never really be loved, which is kind of what the energy is here. Like somebody, if not one, both parties have gone through this a little bit too often. Probably grew up in an environment, right, where they didn't feel loved, didn't feel accepted, and then went off and overgave, overdid in their relationships and were not appreciated and then became very narrow minded. Now, spiritual triggers. Let's see. Okay, abandonment issues. See, the wavering in and out of my life has caused severe triggers of abandonment and it cannot continue to happen. So, again, narrow minded, when someone's narrow minded and they want to be in control. And when I say that a person's aggressive, that aggressive behavior, well, it's again passive aggressive would be I'm going to abandon you. I'm not going to get in your face. I'm not going to show you that I care. If anything, I'm going to show you that I don't care and disappear. But I'm deliberately doing it because I want to show you how little that I care about you. But really, I care about you. That's why again, my second chakra is so out of balance that whoever, again, this is where the person overcompensates. They're not getting what they want, so they try to control the relationship. And control the relationship just means give me more energy. I don't want to really give you energy, but I want you to keep giving to me. And oh, you're not acting the way I want you to act. Okay, I'm going to leave. So again, I believe that you again now don't trust this person. So even though there is this, unconditional love and their soulmate, this person has definitely like created issues, and understand you probably had that to begin with. Abandonment issues normally comes from not getting the emotional support growing up, sometimes not the physical or financial support either. Again, maybe some of you grew up with one parent, that parent worked all the time, so they could never really be around, so they weren't there emotionally, and you didn't want to put the extra pressure on your parent. So it's not a blame game, but when we can understand where the issue came from in childhood, we're able to then look at our relationship and say, is this person abandoning, or am I abandoning myself, trying to make this person give to me the love and the success that they're not giving to me because they're narrow minded, because I feel that we have this great connection. Again, there needs to be some ground here, is what I'm seeing. Meaning, need to be in the physical realm, meaning a relationship that just isn't in the 5D, where you're thinking about that person and wanting to be with that person and feel such a strong spiritual connection. It needs to be grounded, where you're feeding it and where both parties are communicating. I believe because somebody has real issues about with trust, they become so narrow-minded that they no longer know how to even express themselves emotionally. They're terrified to express themselves emotionally, almost afraid that you'll use it against them. So this is why we always want to look at the spiritual blocks. So it's almost like, I'm going to abandon you before you abandon me. This is what you're dealing with. So again, your soulmate twin flame always has the same spiritual blocks that you do. They don't channel them out the same way. They will not respond the same way to their triggers that you do. But understand, both parties have abandonment issues. And I believe, again, your person just says, well, I'm going to do it to you before you can do it to me. But it's, again, they no doubt about it that there's a spiritual connection. Past lover, the display of affection you have towards your former partner triggers my insecurities. I believe because you don't get what you need from this person, you believe that this person comes in, out, in, out, in, out, and they shade it almost like they were capable of having normal relationships in the past, though I don't believe that they were, because people don't just all of a sudden become this way. It's this, they usually, something happens, and this is what they are comfortable with, and until someone puts a stop to it, or until they fall in love with someone that doesn't put up with it, do they change? Like, you can't make a person change, but a person will change if they love someone, is what I'm getting at. And I believe that the perception with imbalanced relationships, and this clearly is an imbalanced relationship, because the person is like, I'm not going to show any feeling or expression, and I'm going to keep triggering you by leaving to make sure that you keep giving to me, but I don't want to give to you, though I know that this is a deep soulmate twin flame relationship, is just crazy. But this is a spiritual energy that we're dealing with, which is the psychological and the emotional, and it's unconscious, and it's based on things that have happened in the past. But if you don't know, which I don't think that you knew all this, you're going to look at every single past relationship that this person has, every relationship this person has, and dissect it, and then compare your relationship to it. And then it begins to affect. We want to know how a soulmate twin flame relationship can unconsciously deteriorate our self esteem if the person isn't spiritually like at a high enough vibration, meaning they love themselves enough that they're capable to actually love you enough. And so understand, a person was continually abandoned by parents, there's a sense of unconsciously believing that they're not lovable, which is why they're narrow minded, which is what the spiritual block is. So, timelessness could also be like this has been a timeless problem, but this is really a timeless connection, is the only thing that can heal it. Why, again, soulmate twin flame is transcends all time and space. It's one of unconditional love. Unconditional love is of God. God and unconditional love, we all know that love always wins. So it just sometimes takes a little bit longer for it to actually manifest. So again, while we're in the thick of it, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done because there's it's creating a lot of, I'm getting aggravated. It's creating a lot of like aggressive behavior, whether that's passive aggressive or right in your face aggressive, again, which is normally what happens with soulmate twin flames, again, because one person deals with things very emotionally and the other person deals with things very logically, which is very irritating for an emotional person because they're like, I don't even want to logic and you're not showing any emotion. So I feel like you don't care. It's like not that the person doesn't care, the person doesn't allow themselves to emotionally get that way. So, which is you probably need to learn how to master some of your emotional, again, your emotional intelligence in the fact of how you express yourself emotionally when dealing with people that want to do things their way. Passive aggressive is all about that. You're not doing what I want, so you're going to be punished, and I'm going to punish you by leaving. Not going to say anything, just not going to be around. I'm going to ghost you. And then you're going to then look at all their relationships and think that everyone got a better deal and you begin to lose yourself. So hopefully that's not what's going to happen, but that's normally what happens um, in these type of situations. So I'm just saying this is what the setup is spiritually. Let's pull one more from the triggers just to see. And then I want to look at like what's the past life connection, because a lot of times that will also tell us why the triggers or what the triggers are. Okay, trauma. I have unresolved trauma and I took it out on you. So it's again, we know this. We know this because it's again, I wasn't allowing love to fully come into my life. So again, you were dealing with someone that loves you, but again is terrified. So they hold a vibrational dissonance. So as much as they want something, they are going to push it away. And they do that subconsciously through their behaviorisms. And that would be like, I'm going to check out. I don't like what you said. I'm going to leave. I'm going to punish you. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be aggressive about it. And that might have made you aggressive, where you felt like you needed to control more. And then look at their relationships and compare. And maybe you compare because this person had a higher level of commitment. Maybe they were married before and you're seeing that they're not giving you that. Maybe your relationship doesn't really feel as cemented in. And because your person had children with someone else or had an obligation with someone else or was with them longer, you're perceiving that their relationship was better. I don't believe that. I believe that relationships are something that happen over time. And you teach a person through how you want to be treated by how much you give them. And I believe that that's not what happened in this person's past relationships, because if it was a good relationship, they'd still be in that relationship. And so it's again, their relationship with you is different because they feel, again, they can feel that timeless connection, that soulmate twin flame relationship, which means I can leave and come back like 10 years later and I feel like I still have the same strong feelings. It's again, I can feel that this relationship is something. I don't understand spirituality. Again, a lot of the logical people are going to look at that and say, I don't really understand what that is, but I can feel something. Where a spiritual person understands, but there's still that connection of that it's an important union. So let's look at the past life from again what you both had lived, or the story of you and your person from a past life, what roles you played. Okay. Wars and battles. So you both lived through wars and battles, which is why there would be such severe abandonment issues. Okay. Um, when one of our partners has to go off to war and they might get killed, they get hurt, they go away for years, we never see them again. And it forces us to have to do things on our own. And, you know, for obvious reasons. So that's where the abandonment issues came from. And then vows. So you guys were married. So maybe a vow was to be there for each other, no matter through like the wars and the battles. But once the person went into war, you never saw them again. And there was a sense of never getting remarried because you didn't really know whether you lost that person. So you were still waiting. I mean, back in the day, it's not like they had a telephone, like you could call someone's cell. It wasn't like that. It was like maybe you got a letter and that letter would take a year if it didn't get lost to get to you. So you'd be sitting there waiting for years for your person to come back, and you'd have to hear from hearsay through the grapevine. And so imagine that it's like telephone. And remember, you might have had people that didn't really like you that much and gossip. And so you didn't really know what was happening with your person. So, which again is also a sense of abandonment, meaning if we don't communicate, then there's a sense that I never know what's going on in this relationship. So, you're not just abandoning me where you're physically not here, but emotionally, you're not telling me anything. You're just shutting me out. And so, again, and this is transportation. So it's again, well, they're saying again that there was really no transportation to get there. There was no means to get back and forth. And if there was, it took so long. So it was just like I feel like your relationship was in and out in one life, where back and forth, and that could be for several reasons. Again, go off to war and battle, like it said, or it could be because of work, again, trying to find money, trying to survive. And again, the vows kept together of faithfulness, but you never knew what was happening, what was going to happen. So this again, this reoccurrence of abandonment is what that you brought in from a past life, you and this person. So I believe that you both were born into families where you didn't really feel supported, really didn't feel as if you could express yourself and be yourself fully without some sort of punishment. So what winds up playing out within both of your karmic themes with each other is abandonment and not being able to fully be oneself. So let's look at the hidden truths. And there's always hidden truths with these karmic spiritual relationships because it's the relationship. A lot of times that both parties have a hard time expressing themselves, have a hard time being open and trusting and learning. So the hidden truths are not always bad. A lot of times it's like my desire. And if there's abandonment, there is a desire for unconditional love. You came closer than anyone. So it's again, I believe that your person is healing. I just believe it's slow. And it's slow because they know that this is a spiritual connection. They don't exactly know everything that there is about spiritual, but they do know that this is again a timeless, again, connection, that they go away and they come back and that each time it gets a little bit better. I just believe that they feel as if they really like have damaged the relationship because of their behavior, of their games. A lot of times, narrow minded people that don't believe that they could be loved, they continually play games so that you'll give them more because they continually need the reassurance. The problem is that people get tired of that. And this is what the energy is almost like. It's almost like, I'm tired of waiting. I don't care about the vow. Like from a past life, it's taking you forever. Like again, there's the transportation is just not, and like I don't really know what's going on. And the like that's the energy that's pulled in to, even though like it's not the same scenario. Obviously we're not in a war, there is transportation, no one's married here, but when there's a timeless connection, it's like there's almost like this unconscious vow that both parties tell each other. So where they want to be together. Okay, you were the best thing in my life. So again, that's a hidden truth, because I don't believe that this person was ever open with their emotions and their feelings towards you, which is why, again, that was the whole problem, why they were narrow-minded. Let's see how they channeled it out. What their trigger was, how they would, again, channel it out to you. It's again defensive. Like if you would have called them out on their bullshit, they were defensive about it. It's like not really, again, they had a shield up, never letting you in, which goes along with being narrow minded, meaning up, they're blocked. And scheming, like always strategizing, like because they didn't trust. They don't trust, but again, how it would be channeled out is that they're the ones that were like scheming and plotting and planning and strategizing, which love isn't about that. It's about just being you in unconditional love. But when there's trauma and when a person is used to being around aggressive people and passive aggressive because they have trauma, well, again, it comes out as again where they scheme, they plot, they plan, they get very mental. It's again, they become very narrow minded. And then you ask them anything and they're very defensive, which doesn't let the person in. So we see what actually has transpired within this relationship. And it's again, but it doesn't mean that there's not unconditional love. There is. So let's see what more messages, please, with the soulmate twin flame. In fact, let's see. Ooh, they're all stuck to my table. And this is a big deck. It's like 172 cards. We're only going to pull two because we want to see what, again, this soulmate twin flame message is. It's actually, the twin oracle. I'm just going to pull random. And this is messages. One of us is sad or angry and is creating an energetic match in frequency with the other. Stay conscious of this and, if possible, try to help us elevate it. So, again, with soulmate twin flames, like I said, it's connection through the heart and mind. There is an ESP connection. So, when one is mad, the other can pick up on it. When one is sad, the other can pick up on it. It's again, the relationship is happening in the 3D, even though it's not per se happening in the physical realm. That's how we know that there's a spiritual connection. It's because I'm not even around you. I try to cut it, I move on, and you're still there. And so I'm connected to you. It's a divine union, because obviously there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. Now, and I wouldn't say just with one party. I would say with both, because again, we're a mirror of who and what comes into our life. So again, I believe that you may not be defensive. But you may have a problem communicating. You may again try to control or manipulate the situation because this person was not open, but you knew that they loved you, so you were trying to push. And in that, it's again doesn't work. It actually backfires. So let's look and see what else. There's karmic ties. We have a past life connection. Memories are surfacing either consciously or subconsciously. So again, this goes with the timelessness. So again, make no doubt about it that your person knows that this is a soulmate twin flame relationship. They might not know the exact name, soulmate twin flame, but they know that this is a divine union. They don't obviously know anything else within this relationship. And they definitely don't know how to handle, like, their intention looks like it's good, it's just that they don't trust, but their execution of everything is horrible. And that's how we know that it's a spiritual issue and not really intentional, though nevertheless you need to again protect yourself, because you will still get hurt. You will still get hurt if you don't set the appropriate boundaries with this person. Because just because there's a spiritual connection, there could be a lot of passion and love. Again, this unconditional love, but with no ground. Because this person is narrow minded, they're only looking at things from their side. So, this is the paradox, and this is the karmic challenge. And that's the karmic tie. Okay, so emotionally unavailable. So this is the issue. And this is what I'm saying. The person's narrow minded, and it's because they're emotionally unavailable. And that's why they scheme. They scheme, they plot, they plan. And it's because they have abandonment issues, and that's their trauma. And that would make anyone aggressive. And that would make, again, your energy unavailable. Again, your energy very, very sporadic and emotional up and down, because they're unavailable, is what I meant to say. It's again, please don't give up on me. So there's a sense that this person is like, I'm going to get it together. I'm going to get it together. And this would be your downfall, because this person would, I feel like, come in and out of your life being like, I do love you. I do care. And you do feel that connection, though they're not expressing themselves and doing and handling this relationship right, because they're not thinking about your feelings, period. And that's why this wouldn't be good. So, but it doesn't mean it doesn't mean obviously not give them anything, because you do have feelings for them. I want to see if there's any information or messages on how we can deal with this, or what our blocks may be towards this, or how we're contributing to it also, so that I can look and see what we can do about it. Because sometimes that's it. This is, I find you incredibly attractive. So it's again not uncommon for a soulmate twin flame relationship, but that actually also complicates things, because there is this, again, passion, this connection, but passion with no ground is lust. It's not unconditional love, but the relationship is based on unconditional love. But what makes something unconditional is time, right? And it's again, when you're around your soulmate twin flame and they don't think the same way, and you have an opinion and they get mad and they leave, they abandon the situation, right? Which we see here, that every time you did not do what this person wanted you them every time you didn't do what your person wanted you to do, they got mad. So again, if they would trigger your abandonment issues. But when there's a soulmate twin flame relationship and there's a lot of passion, the person is emotionally unavailable, but then telling you, please don't give up on me, you will unconsciously give more. Because again, if you don't set boundaries, because again, which is kind of what this person is banking on, why I feel like, again, what we pulled earlier, which was scheming, right? Scheming, strategizing, plotting. Like, so this person is used of being one-sided. They're used to being narrow-minded. Sorry. So again, they'd be foolish to try to do this with a timeless, like soulmate relationship, that they know that this is a divine union. because it can go either way. But it's imperative that you set appropriate boundaries, because if this person comes in like handicapped, they're purposely not giving you 100%. I still have growing to do. See, which is what we see. We see it's again, I love you, but I still want things my way. So, typical soulmate twin flame relationship where the person is not elevated enough. So it means stand your ground, because when you stand your ground, the unconditional love is what makes a person surrender their ego. It's not you yelling at them. It's not you manipulating them. Still, again, the person needs growing to do it, means disconnect. Let's see what, again, messages they have for you. See what messages they have for you. I'm mad at myself for behaving this way. I can't control my fear of getting my heart broken again. See? Says it all there. And we said it all through the reading. Said it all through the reading that you are dealing with someone that's terrified of love, and they created so many blocks within this relationship, though they know that it's a spiritual divine union. So what can we say that, again, any other love messages before we close it out, and maybe how you can deal with it? Just because I hate to leave it on such shitty energy where the person is like, well, they're just emotionally not there because they've gotten hurt. Secret admirer, someone has deeper feelings for you than they keep letting on, which we know that again. So that's confirmation about how they feel. So if you're wondering whether your soulmate twin flame or the person that you're connected to has feelings for you, yes, they do. That's not the problem. The problem is they have a spiritual issue, and the spiritual issue is of abandonment. And because of abandonment, they again like always need to like have the upper hand, always kind of need to control and manipulate the relationship. So I believe, what should you do? What would be beneficial for you? And I'm going to pull 3 cards, and I'm going to swear I'm going to close this out. Actually, I'm going to pull 3 cards from my Moonology deck, because that seems better. That would give us, more straightforward advice about how to deal with this situation, because this is tough. It's like I have a soulmate twin flame relationship that I feel the unconditional love that we both have for each other, though this person acts so stupid. This person acts so, again, one-sided. Is like there's unconditional love, but they're not thinking about me at all. It's like an oxymoron. It's like you can't wrap your head around it. It's like, and that's the whole thing. It's such a mind fuck that you're like, that's what creates the trauma. It's like with it, that's why it's toxic. It's, again, it makes you abandon like where the present moment, what you're doing. You're thinking about that nonsense, and that is why it's not healthy. This is a soulmate twin flame relationship that is, again, could be a karmic bond. Again, right? It's a karmic like bond of two people that are a trauma bond, I should say. It's, again, 2 people that grew up, that lived abandonment issues, and it keeps playing out within their relationship because they keep on doing it to themselves. So you have to be smart enough to break the chain, is what I'm feeling just psychically. But let's see what the Moonology cards, and I swear we're going to close that because we are running over. Okay, it's time to take action. So I believe it's like, if it's this person is going to do something, they need to take action now. It's, again, that you no longer need to take action towards this relationship. You need to take action within your own life. The way to deal with a person that's not giving you anything is not to convince them to give you more. It's to give yourself more, which means take action. Take action to where it's take that emotional energy, because Aries energy is fiery energy, right? It's grounding, it's male, it's dominant. And fire means do, it means get in the body. It's of the physical realm. It's be present, be in the moment, take action within your own life. It's again to transmute that negative energy. It's again this being in this relationship, like I said, this whole storyline was like a mind fuck. It's like a person loves you, but they can't express it. And no matter what you do, no matter what it is, this person's narrow minded and it triggers you and it triggers your abandonment issues. So you can't do anything with that. It's again, it doesn't, the person wants to admire you from afar. That's not, it's again, they're not in a relationship with you. So it's again, and any little relationship that they had, or any relationship that they have, from the mailman to the person that they buy coffee from whatever, you're going to think that they give more emotionally to that person because they're not giving you what you deserve and need. So you can't, this is a thing where you can't ask this person to give you more. You got to give it to yourself. Okay, hold your vision. So again, if you want love in your life, you have to become love, and you have to hold the vision of what it is that you want and not settle. So it's again, maybe part of this, again, if you have such a spiritual block of abandonment, you can do things to recondition your mind and heal that spiritual block by, again, making a vision board, be interactive in things which you love. If you want love, become love. That'll help you hold the vision of love, which again goes with it's time to take action, which means we're not sitting around waiting for this person to change. This is not what we're talking about. What we're saying is, regardless of whether you come back or whether or not I, again, move forward in my life and am able to attract someone new, I have to do this. And so this is the action that I'm going to take. Now, if this is a real soulmate twin flame relationship and you do this, once you move forward and attract someone else, you better believe that person will fucking come back. Because that's the way that they are. Is again, and if you're smart, you won't take them back. Because there is a sense that if you do, that they believe that they will always be able to get you back. Or you should make them work for it. Because it's again, you that on some level they almost feel like they're too comfortable. Again, a scared person that doesn't work hard to be in your life will not know how to, again, have an open heart to give. You have to make them give, and that's through how much you give them, which means you give them less, not more. And that means by you doing more for yourself, again, by taking action and by holding the vision. And we can't hold the vision of believing that we can achieve something unless we become it and are in it, not by being around someone that is like, I have abandonment issues, so I can't give you, and they keep giving you excuses regardless. Adjustments are required. Again, that's what you know. It's again adjustments within yourself. Again, what you'll tolerate, how to handle this situation because it's very triggering. And within this relationship, if it's going to work out, they have to not see things only from their limited, one sided, narrow minded perspective, regardless of what has happened. In order to see ourselves differently and heal is we need to deal with the situation differently. That's what it's all about. Evolution is that. It's about transmuting negative energy into positive energy, meaning you see yourself negatively, you perceive a situation negatively, then it's you transmute it into positivity, into whether you look at it as a life lesson now, or you take the information that you learned and you apply it to your life and you see a different scenario come out of it. Is that you're not just stuck with this person is not loving me and I'm sitting here hoping that they come back. No, you say this obviously is coming into my life because spirit is telling me I need to love myself more. And in me raising my vibration, because that's what's going to happen the moment that I give myself more love, by feeding myself more, by taking action within my own life and going after what I want. And that's by becoming love. I'll attract love. I will never be abandoned again. Yeah, people may come in and out of my life, but whether you're a soulmate twin flame, but you may be a soulmate twin flame that came into my life just to learn this spiritual lesson. And I'm going to leave it right there. Now, if you guys resonated with this live stream, again, give me a like, comment the word healer again in the comment bar, subscribe to the video. You can win a free psychic reading, and let me know. Be interactive with me. I love it when you do. I'm planning on doing more live streams more often. This was kind of like a last minute and welcome live stream, being that it is the first or second day, one of those that we are newly monetized. So definitely check out the channel, check out my subscriptions, and again, all my contact information you can find in the comment, and not in the comment bar, in the box below, in the description box below. All right, guys, until next time, be true to you. Bye.